That's where it lives, right up there. And what does that say? I do. I do. Clap away. Clap away, you hand clappers. Happy glorious hump day, America. Shout out to Quasimodo and Puppies in Heat. So who wants to have fun at the media's expense? Roll the Nexio.
And now the Gutfeld Show presents. You can't fix the media, you can only let it die because they are beyond help and suck harder than a million vacuum cleaners powered by a zillion black holes. And this claim is backed by science.
So remember when Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin eased restrictions on mask mandates? The media mocked and condemned him like the Romans did Jesus.
Glenn Youngkin campaigned as if he were an ordinary suburban, fleece-wearing dad with moderate and inoffensive views.
Youngkin did exactly what a Republican does when they get into power. Let's look at what's going on. Let's move this state back 50 years.
Virginia Governor and Trump in training, Glenn Youngkin.
COVID politics makes a lot of Republican governors stupid.
But now that other Democrat governors are doing the same thing, magically the media changes their tune quicker than a jukebox on meth.
More signs the country is pushing to get back to normal.
New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, Oregon, and California all moved to relax their mask mandates.
These are all states led by Democrats in once hard-hit COVID zones, and they seem to be decisions driven by science, not politics.
Well, look, the facts are great. We're headed in the right direction, as I think we hoped we would be.
The responsibility should shift from a government mandate imposed from the state or the local district of the school. Rather, it should shift to an individual responsibility by the family.
It's official. You can now add these goobers to the list of other invertebrates like jellyfish, slugs, snails, and tapeworms. Because since things have changed and the Dems are doing what Youngkin already did, the mockery stops. Now, to be fair, you say they followed the science, but why be fair when they really followed the political science? Just days ago, when Youngkin suffered a legal setback over ending mask mandates, Dems were dunking on him like Brian Stelter on a crawler. But now they're voting on legislation that copies him. They're like the dumb kids copying the answers off the smart kids' tests. So you'd think in the media's coverage they'd credit Youngkin for being bravely ahead of the game. But you got a better chance of Pelosi admitting her face is 85% modeling clay, because admitting they're hypocrites ain't in their DNA. I doubt they even know what that word means. Now, while it's great to change your mind based on data, you'd think they would think ahead about that possibility before mocking the dude who made that right call first. But no, they're obviously two-faced, fair-weather liars jumping on the bandwagon. This is not amnesia, it's arrogance, for they believe they can get away with it. I'd call them flip phonies. Pretty clever, eh? I came up with it this morning after putting mescaline in my Count Chocula. In one instant, they'll defund actual rioters, then the next brand peaceful protesters as insurrectionists. They'll claim the Canadian truckers are violent radicals without evidence, but then ignore the Antifa militant who plowed his Jeep Patriot, of all things, into the convoy protests. In another, they'll defund the police, then claim they never did. And when homeless men start beating women with baseball bats in the unpoliced streets of Seattle, they hide their anti-cop bias like it's an ugly baby. They question the validity of an election in 2016 and then call anyone else a traitor if they do the same thing 4 years later. So rather than analyze their own rush to judgment, they just run away from the crime scene like smash and grabbers from Kay Jewelers. Maybe it's how they're able to sleep at night. Well, that and hanging upside down. But it all stems from one insecurity. They can't admit they're wrong. It's quite the contrast when you see the podcast world exploding or successes like this little weird show that comes on at 11 p.m. What do they all have in common? Other than most of us can't pass a drug test, we all admit that we're wrong. I try to do it a few times a week, though it's hard when you're almost always right. But every now and then I have to take off my cape. Back in 2016, I was wrong on Trump. And initially, I was wrong on Covington. I was wrong to take hair advice from Kilmeade. And I was wrong taking the under on how long Jesse's show would last. Finally, I was wrong on Canada. Turns out they do have indoor plumbing. Anyway, being able to admit you're wrong is like having opposable thumbs or no tail. It's a sign you've evolved. But being resistant to it means you're just like the dying legacy media, which can never admit they're wrong at all, because maybe they're wrong so much. They do 4 hours of news, then have to do 4 hours of undoing their news. But maybe they're coming around. Under Jill Biden's White House, or whoever's responsible for changing Joe's batteries and then steering him towards the podium, the Department of Homeland Security just issued a heightened terrorism alert due to, get this, the proliferation of false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. They also cite conspiracy theories introduced and or amplified by foreign and domestic threats. This advisory, much like Kat's house arrest, remains in effect until June 7th. But this warning's big news. The DHS finally got around to watching CNN and MSNBC because it's the legacy media churning out the false and misleading narratives that sow discord. They peddled the Russian collusion hoax, that which undermined our elections. They lied about Kyle Rittenhouse and then a terrorist who ran over 6 people at a Christmas parade. They portrayed all police as violent rogues, causing a Ferguson effect that led to the crime wave. And they denied the lab leak. They embraced every hate crime hoax they could find. They pushed defunding the police and no cash bail. They even called parents terrorists. Oh, wait, that one was the government. It's going to be funny when they have to kick down their own doors at dawn and arrest themselves. Maybe they should put up that fence around the Capitol again and just put a padlock on it. Anyway, it's good to see the president and his administration coming around to seeing the destructive nature of a vindictive media. I bet it's sure going to be hard to slap the cuffs on your best friends. But I could be wrong. I probably am. It's not hard, but at least I'll admit it. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's like a jailhouse lawyer, always appealing. Co-host of Outnumbered, Emily Compagno. Yeah, says some guy. His comedy shows bring down the house when the club is demolished due to low ticket sales. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. The early bird catches the worm is her excuse for morning tequila. Fox News contributor Kat Timpf. And finally, he showers in Niagara Falls. My massive sidekick and the NWA's World Television Champion, Tyrus. Emily, good to see you, as always. Glad you could make it.
Me too.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time you were wrong on a topic, and would you care to explain it? It might make you feel better.
I was thinking about this for a while, and I think the times that I was wrong were when I just read headlines, right?
Excellent point.
And so you brought up Kyle Rittenhouse earlier, and when that situation started unfolding, before I looked into it, before I read about it, I thought that, I made the assumption that the headlines were correct and that it was a vastly different situation than it really was. And it actually took in-depth research to determine that the people who died were not a certain type of group that they were portrayed as, that he was not a certain type of group that he was portrayed as, right? It was just a completely different situation. I think what I see is different here than the mainstream media is in part that, we're thoughtful. There's not groupthink.
Yeah.
You say what you think at that time, and that's why later on you can say, you know what, I was wrong because now I know differently, or now I've changed my mind. You know what, I've changed my mind. That's okay too. No one in the mainstream media is doing so because they're saying their talking points and they have their groupthink collectively that they have to do. And if I can just make one quick point too about the mask wearing and how everyone points to like a higher authority that is infallible. So everyone points to the CDC, right? That you have to wear masks, you have to mask your kids. Virginia passes a state law that says we will rely on the CDC guidance for everything that we have to do, the school board, and this is why we're arresting people right and left for breaking laws, basically, right? But that same CDC says that 51% of kids, there's been a 51% increase in suicides. That same CDC says that these kids are declining in mental health and in peer group social status and sociality by double digits right now. They are saying that our kids are dying on the inside. So if they're perfectly infallible in this, and that's what we rely on in laws, says mainstream media, says state law, then why can't the other things they say be correct also? It's only with COVID, it's only in these certain instances that these authorities are correct.
Right. Excellent points, Emily. You get a passing grade.
Yes.
Joe, how you doing?
Good.
Great. Beard coming along?
Growing in.
Yeah,
yes.
Excellent. Good.
Yay.
Yeah. Gonna shave off the mustache and pull a Tyrus?
No, I don't think that would.
Okay, first of all, you know why I don't grow a mustache. My mustache hair is racist.
Yes, he's got white. You have white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
white
grandfather.
mustache. I want to see that.
It's blonde.
Yes.
And it doesn't get along with the rest of it. The vision is rough on my
Yes.
face.
Yes. Joe, do you remember the last time you said something that you now think you were wrong?
Yes. I used to spend a lot of time making fun of Canada. And if this whole system is brought down by angry Canadian truckers, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
Right, I know.
Because
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And when I saw them starting to do the protests up there, I thought, well, it's a Canadian thing, so as someone from the United States, I don't really have to pay attention.
Right.
But I've been watching them, and it just is so funny how Canadian it is, too, and to see such Canadian pride.
Yes.
That what's more Canadian than honking?
Yes.
It's the geese do it, the truckers do it. They're really enjoying the Canadianness of it. And to see the way that the media is attacking them, and their own prime minister, he's accused they're Nazis, they're transphobic, they're racist. He's going down this long list. And when you see them, they've set up saunas and bouncy houses.
I know, bouncy castles. Yes, yes. But I want to point out, you can't spell honky without honk.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, pretty amazing. But you're right. People are talking about like terrorists while you're looking up at TV, and you're looking at TV, and there's a little baby in a baby carriage, and another lady holding a baby. And it's like, what? Who brings babies to a terrorist activity? Well,
Hamas does.
Hamas does, yes. Care to admit?
I'm wrong a lot. At least that's what she tells me. But I'd probably say the biggest thing I was wrong about was Busgate. And I remember I came on the show and I was like, that's it, it's over. Like, Trump's done.
Oh, I was wrong on that too.
Yeah, it was a wrap, you know. And
yes.
And more recently, the biggest one is that I was completely wrong about President Biden. I was, defending, saying he's going to be a moderate.
Yeah.
He's going to be that tough on crime guy, and he's not going to fold any of this. He's just being nice to be elected. And my bad, America.
I remember the bus thing. You know what I did? When we did the 5, I entered my segment with the song It's Over by Boss Skaggs, and I was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah, we talked about it on before the show, after the show, at the bar.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we're going to have 4 years of Hillary. Here we go.
Yeah. Boy, totally wrong. Kat, do you remember anything in your past? I know it's hard to remember.
Because I'm blackout drunk all the time.
I like it when
she's going to whoop your ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not proven wrong a lot because I'm libertarian, and so we never get elected. So we never have a chance to be proven wrong.
That is true.
But we don't win. I would say I was definitely wrong I thought there was no way Trump would win in 2016. No way. I was wrong. I did not think that I would get so much COVID. I don't go anywhere, and I got so much COVID. I got COVID. I thought after I got 2 vaccine shots and the 1 COVID that there's no way I'd get COVID again that same year, but I sure did.
Really? Hey, and you just won the segment because I've had it 3 times.
So much
I've had the 3 boosters and all this stuff, so I'm looking forward to the 4th. I have plenty of party for it.
You're like literally a bug lamp.
COVID loves me.
I've had all 3 versions. It's like I should get like a badge of participation.
Oh my God.
Must be Kat's obesity.
I never really got sick, but I kept getting, testing positive. But I was always like, the beginning, I remember I was like, COVID, no big deal, no big deal. So it hurt me.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I'm gonna get you, you bitch.
But the good news is after a couple of days it left. After a couple of days it left. You couldn't live
I was
with you.
like fine, but except
Once
I had
you
to
got
stay home.
attached,
Like I had to just be by I don't do well alone. And
oh man. Well, that was educational.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.